bay before the city wakes. Before the first ferry slices through the water, Sydney breathes quietly under a rising sun. Golden light spills across the harbour. The waves shimmer like liquid glass. And slowly, a white sculpture appears against the sky. The sails of the Sydney Opera House glow with the soft pinks and golds of dawn. Beside it, the magnificent steel arch of the harbour bridge stretches across the water, a silent, giant guardian watching over the city. Welcome to Sydney, often called the Harbour City. It's a place where modern life meets an ancient land, where the beaches feel endless, and where nature is never more than a few steps away. Sydney isn't just Australia's most famous city. It's a global symbol of coastal beauty, boundless opportunity, and a life lived under the open sky. But beneath its dazzling modern skyline lies one of the world's oldest continuous cultures, jet, and a complex history filled with survival, incredible growth, and constant transformation. To truly understand Sydney, you must first listen to the land. Long before the name Sydney even existed, this land belonged to the Eora Nation. For tens of thousands of years, Indigenous Australians lived along this harbour, their lives deeply woven into the rhythms of nature and spirit. They fished these waters, travelled by canoe, too, and their stories were etched into the very rocks and shorelines. Then, in 1788, everything changed. The British arrived. The first fleet landed at Port Jackson, known to the Eora as Cardi, and Sydney was founded as a penal colony. Life in those early days was incredibly harsh. The new settlements struggled for food, for survival. It was a place of exile and hardship. But slowly, the colony grew. Convicts completed their sentences and became workers. Small, rugged settlements grew into towns. Trade expanded, connecting this distant outpost to the rest of the world. By the 1800s, Sydney had transformed into a major port city. The gold rush of the mid-century brought a wave of wealth and migration that accelerated its growth and forever shaped its population. Australia gained its independence from British rule gradually, and through it all, Sydney remained a powerful symbol of the nation's identity. Today, you can see this history everywhere. Colonial-era buildings with their sandstone facades still stand proudly beside sleek, modern skyscrapers. And now, after a long period of silence, Indigenous culture is finally being recognized more openly, its presence returning to visibility. The past isn't just in museums. It lives here, in public art, in land acknowledgements, before events, and in a cultural revival that is gaining strength every day. Life in Sydney feels outdoors. People here wake up early. You'll see them surfing before heading to work, jogging along breathtaking coastal paths, or meeting friends at cafes with a scent of saltwater mixes with the aroma of fresh coffee. English is the main language, of course, but Sydney is a deeply, wonderfully multicultural city. Walking down the street, you'll hear a symphony of languages: Mandarin, Arabic, Hindi, Greek, Vietnamese, and dozens more. Dress code is casual, relaxed, and designed for warm weather and the coastal breeze. The community vibe is friendly, but also independent. People respect personal space, but they're generally welcoming and open to a chat. Festivals bring this city to life in spectacular fashion. Vivid Sydney transforms the city into a massive, interactive canvas of light and art. The New Year SEV fireworks over the harbour are an iconic event watched by millions around the globe. And throughout the year, cultural festivals celebrate the city's incredible diversity with food, music, and dance. Everywhere you go, there's a unique soundtrack. The call of seagulls, the rhythmic crash of ocean waves, the low hum of ferry engines, and the hiss of coffee machines steaming in morning cafes. And the smells. The clean, sharp scent of sea salt, fresh bread from a local bakery, and grilled seafood sizzling on a barbecue. Sydney feels fresh, alive, and wide open. Sydney is also a city filled with global icons. The Sydney Opera House, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is one of the most famous and architecturally significant buildings ever created. Its sail-like design didn't just give the city a landmark, it changed modern architecture forever. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, affectionately known as the coat hanger, offers the incredible experience of climbing to its very top, where you can stand high above one of the world's most beautiful harbours. Wandering through the Rocks District feels like stepping back in time. You can walk along cobblestone streets, have a drink in a historic pub, and explore old warehouses that have been transformed into art galleries and artisan shops. And then there's Bondi Beach, a name famous around the world for its vibrant surf culture and quintessential coastal lifestyle. But modern Sydney shines just as brightly, with its glittering glass skyscrapers, luxury waterfront apartments, and beautifully designed green public spaces. Here, you can see it all at once: the ancient land, the colonial history, and the bold, modern design. Economically, Sydney is Australia's powerhouse. It's the nation's financial capital, home to major banks, global corporations, and the Australian Securities Exchange. Tourism is a massive industry, with millions of visitors flocking here each year to experience its beauty and energy. The film and media industries are booming, and the tech startup scene is expanding rapidly, creating a hub of innovation. What makes Sydney unique is how it blends business with lifestyle. People here work hard, but they place a huge value on balance. After a long day in the office, you'll find them at the beach, in a park, or out on the water. Emoji. Innovation in Sydney is increasingly focused on sustainability, clean energy, and digital technology. The old industries built this city, but it's these new industries that are shaping its future. More than anything, Sydney feels like it was built inside nature, not on top of it. The vast Pacific Ocean defines the city's entire eastern edge, with beaches stretching for miles along the coast. Just a short drive away, the magnificent Blue Mountains rise up. A world of dramatic cliffs, dense eucalyptus forests, and cascading waterfalls. Sydney Harbour itself is a natural masterpiece, a sprawling waterway that cuts through the land like a piece of liquid sculpture, creating countless bays, coves, and headlands. The weather here is warm and sunny for most of the year. Summers are hot and perfect for the beach, while winters are mild and pleasant. This climate means locals live their lives outside. Surfing, sailing, hiking, swimming. These aren't just weekend hobbies. They're part of the daily routine for many. In Sydney, nature isn't something you visit on vacation. It's something you live with every single day. It's the backdrop to your morning coffee, your commute to work, and your evening stroll. It's the very heart of what makes this city so special. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through Sydney, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from amazing places around the world. Sydney is more than just a city, it's a feeling. It's the kind of place that gets under your skin and stays with you long after you've left. But what makes it so special? Let's dive in and explore the soul of Sydney. From its world-class food scene to its sun-drenched beaches and everything in between. Let's start with the food, because in Sydney, eating is an experience that truly reflects the world. Given its prime location on the coast, fresh seafood is the star of the show. Imagine slurping down freshly shucked oysters with a squeeze of lemon, the salty brine tasting of the ocean itself. You'll find barramundi, a classic Australian fish, grilled to perfection on almost every menu, alongside sweet, juicy prawns that are a staple of any Aussie barbecue. Speaking of classics, you can't come to Sydney without trying a few quintessential Australian foods. Picture this: you're sitting by the beach, the sun warming your face, with a steaming hot meat pie in one hand. Or maybe you're enjoying classic fish and chips, the paper wrapping soaking up the delicious grease. As waves crash on the shore just a few feet away. And then there's the barbecue culture. It's not just a meal, it's a way of life. From public grills and parks to backyard gatherings, The sizzle of a barbecue is the soundtrack to a Sydney weekend. I bet the city's culinary landscape goes far beyond the classics. The street food scene here is incredibly diverse. You can wander through bustling Asian street markets, the air thick with the fragrant scents of spices and sizzling woks. You can find yourself in a cozy Mediterranean cafe, sipping on strong coffee and nibbling on delicate pastries. Or you might stumble upon a Middle Eastern bakery, drawn in by the aroma of freshly baked bread and sweet, sticky baklava. And let's talk about the coffee. Sydney's coffee culture is serious business. Locals are passionate about their flat whites and long blacks, and the city is home to some of the best cafes in the world. Baristas here are artists, and a morning coffee isn't just a caffeine hit, it's a ritual. Setting in Sydney is a relaxed, social, and fresh affair. It's about sharing good food with good company, often with a stunning view as your backdrop. So, when is the best time to experience all this? For perfect weather, aim for September to November, which is spring in Australia. The city is blooming and the days are warm and sunny. Or visit from March to May during autumn, when the weather is mild and the crowds are a little smaller. Let me paint a picture of a perfect day in Sydney. You wake up early and head to Bondi Beach to watch the sunrise. The sky explodes in a symphony of pinks and oranges as the first light hits the waves. After a refreshing dip in the ocean, you find a charming breakfast cafe by the water. Sipping on a perfectly brewed coffee and enjoying a healthy, delicious meal. Midday, you hop on a ferry and cruise across the magnificent Sydney Harbour. The views of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge from the water are simply breathtaking. Sure, you disembark at the Rocks, the historic heart of Sydney, and spend some time wandering through its cobblestone laneways, exploring its quaint pubs and artisan markets. In the afternoon, you get up close and personal with the iconic Sydney Opera House. You walk along the harbour paths, taking in the energy of the city. The sun begins to set. You make your way to Darling Harbour for dinner. You find a restaurant with a view, and as you eat, you watch the city lights begin to twinkle, their reflections dancing on the water. But Sydney is also full of hidden gems, waiting to be discovered. Take the ferry ride to Bondi Beach. It's not just a commute. It's a scenic journey that offers some of the best views of the harbour. Explore Watson's Bay for its stunning coastal views and cliffside walks. And don't miss Barangaroo, a modern waterfront park that beautifully blends urban design with natural landscapes. Here are a few fascinating facts about this incredible city. Did you know that Sydney Harbour is one of the largest natural harbours in the world? The iconic roof of the Sydney Opera House is covered in over 1 million self-cleaning tiles. And with more than 100 beaches, you're never far from a sandy shore. The city's history runs deep too. Some indigenous Dreamtime stories describe the harbour as being shaped by ancient spirits, adding a layer of profound cultural significance to its natural beauty. There's a local saying, if you swim in Sydney waters at sunrise, you feel truly alive. And it's true. There's something magical about that experience, a connection to the raw, natural energy of the place. Sydney isn't just beautiful, it's balanced. It's a city where work and life, urban energy and natural tranquility, the past and the future, all coexist in perfect harmony. It teaches you to slow down, to breathe in the fresh ocean air, to live a life that's more connected to the outdoors. As night falls, the city transforms. The Opera House glows like a white beacon against the dark water. Ferries glide across the harbour like floating stars. A sense of calm descends, and the bustling city becomes silent and peaceful. Sydney doesn't rush you, it invites you. It invites you to explore, to rest, and to dream. Because Sydney is not just a city, it is sunlight dancing on water. It is the taste of salt in the air. It is a feeling of endless possibility. And somewhere between the rhythm of the ocean waves and the glow of the city lights, you realize something profound. Sydney doesn't just show you its beauty, It shows you how beautiful life can feel. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures.